Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on November the 8th, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise, and William, if you would come up, would you lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance, please? You can come up. Don't be afraid. All right, we'll go on you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Don't go anywhere. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Quist?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Colombo?
Here.
All members present.
Let's just do the minutes real quick so we can get through that so that we can honor William. So go ahead. Someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes, both open and closed?
Motion to approve. Second.
Are there any corrections, deletions, or omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Quist?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor?
So tonight, we have the great pleasure of honoring you, William, for getting your Eagle Scout. You know, that's something that we hold, at least in this Township Committee, very high esteem. Not only have you done things in the Township and done things to enhance really Cape May, now Atlantic County, based on your project for Eagle Scout, you are well prepared to move on in a leadership position. And we certainly hope that at some point, maybe you could even be one of these elected officials and join, you know, sitting on the podium here. But what I'd like to do is read the resolution, and my colleagues will certainly come out and, you know, honor you, and maybe your parents would like to come up and we'll get some pictures. So whereas William McLeese of Troop 79, Seaville, New Jersey, has recently achieved the designation of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America, the Township of Upper wishes to acknowledge the outstanding accomplishment of this remarkable young man. The committee extends its sincere congratulations to William on the occasion of his receiving the designation of Eagle Scout and commends him for his outstanding accomplishments and the completion of his Eagle Scout project, which consisted of building an information kiosk to support the Summers Mansion, the oldest building in Atlantic County, located in Summers Point, built in 1725 and on the list of the National Register of Historic Places. Whereas William, with a team of scouts, constructed the information kiosk, complete with weatherproof cabinets, shingled roof, and solar panels to provide light at night. The kiosk will share information about the historic significance of the site with visitors and tourists. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Township Committee extends its sincere congratulations and best wishes to William's parents, his family, and friends on this happy occasion, and that the Township Committee also extends congratulations and appreciation to the Scoutmasters and others who have given so freely and generously to their time for the benefit of our youth. So, with sincere congratulations, we're going to give you a round of applause. Congratulations. Very well.
Good job. Good job.
There's your resolution. If you turn this way, we'll make sure you get in the newspaper. How's that? No pressure. All right, let's give away one more round of applause. Thank you very much. Now, what I'd like to do, we're going to do a little flip-flop here. Would someone like to make a motion on resolution 3/17/2019 in recognition and appreciation of Jay Potter on the occasion of his retirement from the township.
Move the
CJ, we
resolution.
got you because we figured you may not come when we really want to present to you. So.
Move the
I'll make-
resolution.
Go ahead, make the move.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes. Now, Jay, would you come up here, please? Come on.
Like you're shy, come on.
So, first of all, there is quite the crowd here that is here to honor you, Jay. And I'll read the resolution. Many probably don't realize how long Jay has actually been here. So, the resolution reads, whereas Jay Potter will soon retire after more than 34 years of public service to this community, during which time he has served within the emergency medical services of Upper Township as the emergency medical technician and as chief of emergency medical services and the rescue squad. During his tenure, Jay has additionally served as animal control officer from 1988 to 1993, as safety coordinator from the year 2002 till now, as an Upper Township Local Emergency Planning Committee member from 2014 till now, as an Upper Township Security Commerce Committee member from 2015, and the Local Emergency Management Council member since 2017. Whereas in 2010, Jay received his EMS Lifetime Achievement Outstanding Career EMTB Award and also earned recognition as the 2013 New Jersey State First Aid Council Member of the Year. Whereas the Township Committee acknowledges the expertise Jay possesses in the field of emergency medical services, and on behalf of every citizen in this community, the Township Committee wishes to thank Jay for his invaluable service and his assistance to the Township. It is most appropriate that Jay's tenure of public employment and his years of faithful service, countless hours of hard work, and dedication to this community be publicly recognized. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee that Jay Potter be publicly congratulated on the occasion of his retirement from the Township of Upper, that he be publicly thanked for his many years of dedicated public service to our community, that this committee, on behalf of all the citizens of the Township of Upper, extend to Jay Potter, our fellow employee and friend, our very best of wishes on his retirement and his future endeavors. A big round of applause. I've been on this township committee for 22 years, 20 years as mayor, and Jay and the rescue squad have always been there for our citizens and residents. They hold themselves to the highest esteem. They have been congratulated over the years for all that they've done. I personally have always told the story that my wife, at one time when she fell and unfortunately broke her back, the rescue squad were there and gave her the best care possible so that when she went to the hospital, she was able to have a full recovery. So I'm beholden to Jay and the rescue squad, and he will be deeply missed. When you put that kind of service into the township, and you put that type of experience and expertise, and you have all the folks that are out here that you've indirectly or directly have trained over the years, it's just an amazing feat. So we wish you all the best, and we thank you for everything you've done for the township. Thank you. Do you have a
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, can we get the squad members up there to take a picture with the chief?
Absolutely. Huh? He's getting on speed. Yeah, at least he didn't give a speech, huh? Probably need a wide-angle lens for all of this.
Potter, stand up, you are.
Why did I invite Jen?
No, we don't have to be
Thank you, everyone.
There's nobody staying, huh? We gotta announce who's gonna be chief. Oh, yeah. Volunteer side's gonna have a different chief. Volunteer side's gonna have a different chief. Geez, I'm not sure who it is, but it's either gonna be, that Mike guy, when we chat.
Nobody told me. And you're supposed to be next.
It's going to be sink or swim time for the volunteers.
All right, it's a little bit quieter in here now. So, do you have something for us this evening, Scott?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Committee. Just a few things. One, I wanted to update Committee on a public safety project that we, Phase 1 of the project has been completed at Caldwell Park, and that is the addition of cameras around our main facility there. And we hope to start Phase 2 within a couple weeks, and that will be additional cameras around Andrews World, and obviously those cameras will provide additional, hopefully deterrent and information to our New Jersey State Police if something, vandalism or anything like that should occur within Caldwell Park. And we're looking for possibly in 2020, if the budget will support it, the same type of camera and security project at Amanda's Field as well. I do have one request from EMS Division, and it is a request, but it's also a change. Matt Steinthal is requesting a class that he would like to take through the National Conference on EMS in Atlantic City, which will be held Wednesday, the 13th of November through Saturday, the 16th of November. The cost for this is $235. And when I say it's kind of a change, although he is requesting it, Mike Linz had already requested this a few weeks ago, if you recall, at one of the other meetings, but he is unable to attend. So as far as the expense is concerned, it kind of washes out.
Make a motion, we authorize.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
These requests, do they go up through the chain of command where
Yes,
the
they
chief
do.
signs off on it and that's all done?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll second.
It actually came through the chief.
No, yes.
All right, we have a first and a second other discussion. Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cobb?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Wanda?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And my last thing, I just wanted to defer to Craig Reeves, our Superintendent of Public Works. He's going to give a quick update on leaf collection.
We have completed our brush collection through the month of October. We made one last pass through the township, first week of November. We have completed the brush. We started leaf collection the first week of November, mainly because the leaves this year come down a lot earlier than years past. Plus, we wanted to be a little proactive, so we had all three of our leaf machines out. We had a crew start at Harbor Road and Eagles Point, working south. They are completed all the way to Roosevelt Boulevard. They are now on East Esperanza. We have a crew started in southern end of the township. They are working north and then started today in Court. Arrowhead started next one. And then we have a crew start in the center of the township at Oak Portion for
And although we've started this, as Craig has said, a jump on it, that doesn't mean that those who haven't put their leaves out yet or had an opportunity to, it won't be missed. We'll be able to do another run through the township, so we can get, it just seems to be a little bit more efficient the way we're doing it at the present time.
Yeah, I've received a lot of positive comments over the past couple of weeks, especially with the brush and everything being picked up, so nice thing you guys are staying on top of it.
And that's all I have, gentlemen.
Okay, Barbara?
Just have a couple of announcements. Saturday, November 23rd, Greater Tuckahoe Area Merchants will hold their 6th annual Handmade in America Professional Craft Show, and that's going to be at the Upper Township Community Center from 9 to 3:30 on Saturday, November 23rd. And last, but certainly not least, before our next meeting on November 25th at 6:30 p.m., we will have our annual tree lighting. And we're going to have the Uptown Singers, the Upper Township Middle School Band will be here to provide music, and we will also have a special guest this year, dressed in red, and we want to thank the Isley Tree Farm for their donation of the tree this year. And that's all I have.
And also, isn't the Upper Township Business Association Community Night, that's tomorrow night?
It is tomorrow night,
And that is at what time?
6 to 8.
6 to 8, Upper Township Business Association Community Night. Okay? Make sure we get all these public announcements in here.
Absolutely.
Daniel?
Nothing at this time, but I would like to congratulate John and Hobie for being sentenced for another 3 years.
Couldn't break up the young and young crew.
Lots of youngs. Paul?
Had nothing to report this evening, thank you.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the beach replenishment.
Okay.
I know that they started staging some equipment.
Yes.
We're ahead of schedule, which is great. We need all the help we can get on that north end. Can you give us a better idea of where we're at with that?
Yes, they did finish up a little bit earlier in Avalon with their beach fill, so the dredge actually moved off Avalon over the weekend, and it's up in Safe Harbor in Atlantic City, just doing a little refitting. They have some approval process to go with the Army Corps of Engineers. You'll probably see equipment being moved up onto the beaches as early as probably tomorrow or Thursday.
Today.
They've been out there surveying the beach, and then once they have to submit the surveys to the Army Corps to get approval, and they anticipate, depending on weather, the latter part of next week or possibly the week of Thanksgiving to start actual pumping of sand on the beach. So they anticipate about 20 to 23 days of pumping to fill the beach, and they'll go from the state natural area on the north end down to around Hawthorne Avenue where the emergency access is before Well Beach starts. That's the area that they anticipate filling with sand, about 400,000 cubic yards of sand.
So we don't know our final tally at this point. It's still an estimate based on what we think we need, but
The initial estimate based on what was bid, the bid quantities and what they had estimated from that, our portion was right around $860,000 for our share. Obviously, between when they took the survey last summer and today, there's a lot more beach erosion that occurred on the north end, so I anticipate that to go up probably closer to $900,000, $930,000 for our share.
well, I guess it's good news of doing the beach replenishment.
Yes.
Not so good news that we have to pay more, but we have to get it done. So, and it's a great bargain for the dollar for us, in that we're really only paying, what, 25% of the 35%? Is that what it is?
We're
Or
paying
35% of the 25?
The federal and the state local share is a 50-50 share, and then we're paying 25% of the 50%.
Of the 50 share. All right, that's all good news. Thank you. Barbara? Thank you. Committeeman Coggins, congratulations.
Thank you, and thanks to the voters of Upper Township for choosing Hobie and I to represent you for another 3 years. I certainly hope we live up to your expectations. As well as I also want to express my appreciation to my fellow committee members and the other members of our local Republican organization who supported and funded our campaign. It's certainly appreciated. Second, and Paul, I hate to do it, but I'm going to put you on the spot. The intersection of Stagecoach Road and Church Road has been home to a number of accidents recently. I'm sure that our EMS personnel are getting tired of scraping people off the road at that intersection.
Yes.
The township had approved a resolution to make that a four-way stop. The county has approved a four-way stop there. How do we get this done?
I did have a chance to communicate with the county engineer last week after we had spoke briefly about the subject. It has been approved. It's been delegated to their county sign shop to install the signs. I think that approval was given probably in May timeframe, and it just has not progressed through the work order. I let him know of your concern and committee's concern. I think there's been 2 accidents in the last 30 days there, at least, that I'm aware of.
Yes, at least.
So I did explain to him the necessity and importance of getting that up as soon as possible.
So the sign shop has had it as a work order since May?
I don't know the exact date. I'm just going by, the freeholders approved it in the springtime, and it was passed, through the county engineer's office to the public works department.
My question would be, does anybody follow up on work orders as soon as they get done?
Is that Freeholder Maury's
Freeholder more, yeah.
sandbox?
Yes.
Is that his? All right, well, we'll have to make a call to him. I've talked to him in the past, I don't have a problem giving him a call, find out what the story is with it.
And that won't be a four-way red light like we have it.
The four-way blinking stop sign, so it'd be stops in both directions. Currently, it's a stop in, I believe,
Same
on
type of
Stagecoach.
Stop sign we put down on Catherine, right?
It would be like the one on
The flashing one on
Tuckahoe and
Catherine,
Stagecoach,
West Catherine.
right?
Yes. And if you want, I can, I was anticipating sending one to the Public Works Director, Tim Donahue, and Bob Church, just reiterating the
Now,
importance of
we're not
getting-
going to depend on letters anymore.
Well, no, I know that.
Going to give
I
him a
think we-
call, we'll find out.
But I let the county engineer know of the importance again.
Okay.
And also, finally, this evening on our agenda, we will be asking the committee to vote on some long-term financing for our capital improvements. This will eliminate the need for short-term loans and short-term bonds, stabilize our interest rate for the next 10 years going forward, and enable us to do a much more efficient job of capital planning going forward. And other than that, that's all I had this evening.
Okay. Congratulations to you, Committeeman
Thank you,
Young.
Mr. Mayor.
You have anything this evening?
And I'd like to reiterate what John said, and thank everyone for supporting us again this year. I had no intentions of running for 3 terms. I thought 1 was going to be enough, and we're heading into our 3rd one. I appreciate the honor you give us for serving you again, and we promise that we'll continue to, my department, and John runs a great finance to improve our recreation and sports, community center facility, and our special events. Other than that, the thing I wanted to make an announcement was our midget football program. The Pee-wees, the JVs, and the varsity have all made the playoff rounds, and that first round will be this coming Saturday at Cottle Park. We're hosting all the playoff games. So anybody that can get out there and support these kids, they've really done a good job this year, and they really represent our township well. And also Ocean City High School, which is a nucleus of our kids, have made it to the South Jersey playoffs by beating Mainland last week, which is, we don't have to make the playoffs, just beat Mainland. That's
You got that right.
So,
That's a winning
other than that,
season in
I
itself.
want to thank the committee and the Republican Club for endorsing us and making this election go very easy for us. So, we'll move on to next year.
Sounds good. Deputy Mayor Barr.
John, Hobie, congratulations, and looking forward to working with you. We can keep the train rolling there. Craig, you guys are doing a good job picking up the leaves. stress the motoring public. Our people are out there picking the leaves up. It makes the roads very slippery. Plus, our people are out there going through the neighborhoods, so we get something on our website, a ticker or something on there, so they pay attention and make sure our people are safe. Other than that, that's all I have.
We also might want to add that when the leaves are slick, that makes it more for a slippery road than, with what we just had recently, like today, a lot of leaves came down today, so the road's probably a little slippery out there besides the freezing that's going on. Committeeman Corson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hobie and John, congratulations. We'll be working with you guys another 3 years. It's been a lot of fun and get a lot of stuff done. But also this last week, I guess, Rich and I met and interviewed 4 qualified individuals to replace Jay Potter as chief of the rescue squad. And Scott was there and personnel, and we would like to make a recommendation that we make Michelle Sampson chief and Melissa Coker assistant chief. And I will make that in the form of a motion.
And I'll second it.
Have you discussed the particulars of the position? And do you need to talk about that? Has that all been resolved? Because we need to do a resolution with salary and whatnot.
Yes.
So, all right. So that'll follow in the resolution and...
Yes.
All right.
Scott's got all that information.
Okay.
Because I think we'd like to have them in place, if not by the end of the month, certainly beginning of December.
Yeah, because December 1, we need to have them in place. So we need the resolution for our next meeting.
Is what you're
Yes.
saying.
But then we want to do an official public swearing in here in Town Hall at the meeting, our meeting night on the second meeting in December. We'll do another swearing in before that, but we want to do a public swearing in at our second meeting in December. You're good, right, that night? Yeah.
Right, so you have a first and a second. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes, and I would like to add that we had, 4 very viable candidates, and they all, did a great job during the interview process, and I congratulate both Michelle and Melissa for coming out on top, so.
Well, they should all be commended because they put in a lot of volunteer hours and a lot of paid hours and a lot of time and education to all 4 get where they are today. It's, well, you heard, to be a volunteer or to be a rescue squad, it takes a lot of continued education, a lot of work. They should all be commended.
Right, so we covered a lot of things tonight. The only thing that I also wanted to add, I want to kind of recognize our animal rescue. There was an article on Facebook where there was a dog that was lost, Max, for quite a while, and had wandered somewhere into the marshes. Unfortunately, someone, saw the dog out there, and the Beacon Animal folks and our shore animal control rescue people were able to go out and rescue the dog. And that was before some of this cold weather. This was, I guess, 2 days ago. So, beyond just the normal day-to-day operations, they also, make it a point to go out and try and help our neighbors who, unfortunately, for one reason or another, the pet gets out and, gets lost. So I certainly like to recognize them for a great job. It was a great happy ending, I suppose, for those that own Max, and certainly for everybody that was looking for him. So,
For Max.
that's a good name. That's my grandson's name. So.
Was he named after the dog or the dog named after him?
His real name. All right, here we go. So, let's move on to the ordinances. We have a public and final adoption. Would you go ahead and...
Okay. Public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 17, 2019, an ordinance revising job classifications and titles and amending Chapter 5 entitled Personnel of the Code of Upper Township.
Okay, if there's no discussion, Dan, you're good. I'm going to open it up to the public. Would someone from the public like to address the Township Committee with respect to this ordinance revising some job classifications and titles? Okay, it doesn't appear that there's any comments at this point. So I'll close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
I'll give a motion to adopt ordinance number 17-2019.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor? Item number 3, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 18, 2019, and ordinance amending ordinance number 21, 2018, known as the salary ordinance for the calendar year 2019.
Okay, so again, I'll open it up to the public. Would anyone from the public like to address ordinance number 18, 2019, which would be amending the ordinance known as the salary ordinance? All right, let the record reflect that there was no public comment. We'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting and entertain a motion for adoption.
Motion to adopt ordinance 18-2019.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 4, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 19, 2019, authorizing the transfer of township-owned land to Habitat for Humanity.
Okay, someone like to move to introduce?
Make a motion.
And what will the date be?
The public hearing will be, what did I have on there? It was December 9th. Just make sure. That's what we have on here.
December 9th.
December 9th, sorry about that.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance.
No, no, no.
You have a public introduce ordinance.
Introduce.
19-2019 on December 9th.
Would you like me just to clarify what lot and blocks they are, just for the public?
Yes, please.
well, how about, I'll second it, and now, go ahead.
Both the lots are running on Ocean Avenue. The first one is block 590, lot 2. The other one is block 585, lots 1 through 8.
Okay. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 20, 2019, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Upper in the County of Cape May, New Jersey, appropriating $2 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,900,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Make a motion to
Again, introduction, the final adoption would be December 9th.
make a motion to introduce ordinance number 20-2019.
Second.
Just call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
We did J's already, so we'll go to number 7.
Okay, so moving on to item number 7. Amending resolution number 12, 2019, appointing various officers and employees to annual and specified terms.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 8, authorizing the award of a contract with Cruzan's Truck Service for automotive repair services and supplies.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, authorizing the execution of a subcontract with the County of Cape May for the state fiscal year 2021 for the Municipal Alliance Program.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, setting the date and time of the 2020 reorganization meeting for the Township of Upper. And that would be Monday, January 6th at 6 p.m.
Move the resolution, please.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, authorizing the purchase of certain items in the amount of $53,856.53 from the 2018 Capital Improvement Bond Ordinance.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 12, appointing Maley Gibbons, P.C., and M. James Maley Jr. to act as special legal counsel with regard to redevelopment law.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 13, authorizing a contract with ARH Associates for environmental consultant services.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 14, authorizing a contract amendment for the demolition of an unsafe structure for extra work in the amount of $6,200.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 15, authorizing the disposal of personal property with no market value.
Motion
Resolution.
approved.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 16, authorizing the mayor and/or municipal engineer to sign and submit an application to the NJDEP for beach and dune maintenance for Strathmere and Whale Beach.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 17, supporting the NJDOT Route 9 Tuckahoe Road to Roosevelt Boulevard roadway improvements projects.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Abstain.
Abstain. Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 4 in favor and 1 abstention. Item number 18, capital budget amendment.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 19, authorizing the mayor and township clerk to sign a contract with Phoenix Advisors LLC for municipal advisory services.
Motion authorized.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 20, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of general improvement bonds of the Township of Upper in the County of Cape May, New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $8 million in principal amount.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 21, resolution determining the form and other details of $8 million general improvement bonds of the Township of Upper in the County of Cape May, New Jersey, and providing for their sale.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 22, budget transfers.
Motion authorized.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. All in favor? Number 23, the bills.
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
There are a number of reports from our municipal departments, animal control, construction, clerk's office, finance office, municipal court, MUA, tax collector certification of mailing, added assessment and omitted assessment taxes for 2019, final 2020 preliminary tax bills. All of these reports will be available upon request at the clerk's office tomorrow. I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so at this time, we're going to open it up to the public. If anyone has any public comment or anything they'd like to address the Township Committee with, now's the time to do so. Please come up to the podium, state your name and your address and your reason for approaching the Township Committee.
Good evening. My name is John Canderin. This is my wife, Merle. We live at 206 Tennyson Place, Ocean View, New Jersey. We're here tonight to discuss an issue we're having in a section of town that we live in. By way of background, we have been township residents for 34 years, lived in the same house on the same street, and have enjoyed all the benefits of living in the township that everyone else in this township enjoys. Quality of life is one of the things and one of the reasons that brought us here to the township. Quality of life. Quality of life could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Obviously, in this township, there's a good school system, good government, and for the most part, peace and quiet. In our case, that peace and quiet has been dramatically changed in the area where we live. For 34 years, I'd say 33 years, we have lived in relative peace and quiet until a situation developed that has dramatically changed our peace and quiet and quality of life. If I may, I'd like to just
Is that from your backyard?
Side.
Yes, sir. I will
No,
tell you,
side.
excuse me, it's on the side of our house.
Neighbors.
That noise, which you can tell, is music that is unabated. Right now, we have absolutely no way to stop that noise. We have had the state police out there on numerous occasions, only to have them tell us there's nothing we can do. Reason being is the noise ordinance that we currently have in place is very subjective. Does not allow for proper enforcement of unabated noise like you just heard. If I was to tell you that that noise that you just heard has been going on for 3 straight months, every day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, I don't think there's anybody in this room that could tell me they would want to put up with that. There is no way that you can have a quality of life and enjoy your property when you have this kind of noise taking place right next to your property line. That noise you just heard was 70 feet from the source of the noise, at least 70 feet, 40 feet from my property line. You can hear it inside my house, of course, anywhere on the outside of my house, and it has caused all sorts of stress and problems for my wife and I. Needless to say, it's not the kind of noise anybody would want to be subjected to for this long of a period of time, and there needs to be a way to address it. And my proposal is to have the current noise ordinance amended and changed so that it is more objective, meaning it is noise specific and there is certain parameters used to measure the noise. There's a couple of ways you can do that. One is using a decimeter, which means you have to have somebody trained to use the decimeter. We don't have anybody in the township that can do that right now, nor trained to do it. The county does. I've had them out there on several occasions to listen to the noise and other noise that's been occurring on this property. And that type of person could be a designated person by this township to use a decimeter to measure noise.
So what was the outcome when you had the county come out?
Well, Mr. Mayor, there was other problems with this particular neighbor, had to do with zoning and things of that nature. Loud trucks, whatever the case may be. I had the county come out and measure the noise on the trucks, not to do with the noise that you just heard on my phone. I'm not proposing using a decimeter. My proposal, and there are multiple towns around us or near us that use the plainly audible standard to measure noise, meaning you don't need a decimeter. The wording in the noise ordinance would simply say, if you can hear the noise from at the property line or a certain footage from the property line or from the source of the noise, it's a violation of the noise ordinance. That is what I am suggesting that we try to get adopted here in lieu of the current noise ordinance, which is unenforceable, at least in terms of the kind of noise you're hearing there.
Is it,
Can I give a little history?
yeah,
This noise ordinance is crafted as a nuisance ordinance, and you're right, it is a subjective standard. To my knowledge, it hasn't been tested in the municipal court. It was reviewed by municipal court. In fact, personnel, before it was adopted, and it actually was approved by the Superior Court as an ordinance, a valid ordinance in municipal court. The background on it, and maybe I didn't mean to cut you off, Curtis, but I think at least Rich and Curtis were here when it was adopted. It was requested by the state police. That's the irony of, I guess, the comments that you just made previously. We've had, obviously, turnovers in personnel at the state police. My understanding, our administrator, when we saw your emails, reached out to them. They now know that they have the authority to enforce it. They're now aware of it. If they don't enforce it, what happens is in municipal court, in any kind of violation that comes out, they look at it and they feel, from a general standpoint, from what they can see, do they feel satisfied that they can file a complaint against that person? With a noise ordinance, often they'll go and talk to the person engaging in the alleged violation. If that doesn't resolve it, then obviously a complaint can come out. If the police do it, the prosecutor and the complaint, and the police officers would then try the case and it would be prosecuted in municipal court. You also have the right to file a complaint yourself as an individual. The reason the ordinance was drafted this way was because of the diverse nature of the township. We have some uses historically that you could shut down. If we use the plain audible, someone having a confirmation, wedding, whatever in their backyard could be shut down because it is more objective and there is no subjective criteria. For the township's edification, there's 6 criteria that are used to bear with me. 6 criteria that are used for determining whether or not a violation occurs.
Dan, excuse me, sir. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want you to hear another video from this property next door. That noise ordinance we have is unenforceable.
I know, but he's explaining.
I understand, sir. I understand what you're trying to say, but the way it's written, it can't be enforced. The state police told me it can't be enforced. How am I going to file a complaint if there's no way to enforce that noise ordinance?
That's contrary to what I discussed with Lieutenant Henry, who's the commander currently the commander. He's been commander there for the last 6 months. I did discuss After receiving your email, I did discuss the situation with him, and he assured me that his officers would take action if deemed necessary, and they actually felt that there was a complaint, a valid complaint, and they would sign complaints.
They already came out and
They
told
came
us.
out and told us, don't call us again.
When was the last contact you had with the state police?
I'm going to
Few
say
months.
probably 3 or 4 months ago.
So.
We gave up. I gave up. I stopped calling.
I
Because they
understand,
did
but-
not want to get involved.
They said,
I mean,
don't
from the-
call
from
us
the time
again.
that, we talked on the phone today.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, since your last contact, there has been contact with this, as I told you, there's a new station commander also, which I had no idea until tonight, that they spoke with the new station commander. So there's a new sheriff in town that's looking at this ordinance and saying that it can be enforced.
And he's extremely proactive,
Yes.
I will say, with
Okay.
many different issues.
Let me give you a hypothetical. The state police come out tomorrow when this noise is going to be taking place, and they say, yeah, it's pretty loud, but it's so subjective. What's loud to me and loud to the state trooper that shows up could be two different things. And how is he going to go over there to this person, this resident, and go turn it down? How are you going to turn it down? How low is it going to be? There's no standard to measure it. It's just going to be the trooper going, I think it's too loud, turn your music down. And the neighbor's going to say, okay, I'll turn it down, 1 decibel or 1 notch or whatever it is. It's not enforceable that way. Can't do it. You have to have some standard of measurement to enforce it. So regardless of what Lieutenant such and such told you, he's not going to be able to do anything. I'm telling you right now, I've had the experience with them already. They basically said, don't bother us. That's what the bottom line was. We can't enforce it, and there's nothing we can do. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it
And
doesn't-
we are stuck listening to this nonsense every single day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, straight, no break.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
Is there an ongoing dispute with this neighbor? Is that why this is happening?
Yes.
Yeah, there has been.
You
Yes.
also have civil rights against your neighbor as well.
We understand it, and
I don't know if you
I have.
contacted an attorney, but you have civil rights.
Yes, sir, I know, you can't give me advice. I've already discussed it with an attorney. We have other options, but I feel strongly that a noise ordinance with sub-objective standards needs to be put in place. This noise ordinance we have is a joke. It will not work. I don't care what the state police tell you, they're gonna come out and just go over it. They went over to the neighbor and talked to him. You know what happened? Absolutely nothing. He kept playing the music all day long, 8 hours a day,
Now, I have a
5
letter.
days a week.
I have a letter here from my neighbor across the street because they couldn't come tonight because they're working. And there's a letter here that says that the noise is bothering them also.
Just so you know, it's not just us.
It's not just us.
The ordinance hasn't been tested in the municipal court, at least not in this context. So I don't know what to tell you when he says it's not enforceable. It is a subjective standard. The standards that are set forth in the ordinance, unreasonable and unnecessary noise is a determination. You look at these factors, whether the noise is unreasonable and unnecessary in relation to the approved use or activity, whether the noise is unreasonable and unnecessary in relation to the historical, customary uses and activities. That was specifically crafted for our township because we do have operations that create noise that if you had a definable standard, it would be in conflict with historical operations that exist.
Is there any way of putting something in there that would be more geared to residential on a prolonged period of time, meaning, so I understand why
The
we
rest of the
went.
standards, so you know, it says, when the use or activity creating a noise is subject to conditions imposed by government authority, in other words, site plan, that type of thing, so the site plans can have the time frames for commercial and whatnot. The reasonableness of the conduct of the alleged violator, everything you're testifying here to tonight, that would be put before a municipal court judge. I haven't heard the other side, but obviously on his face, those items are violated based upon your comments tonight. And the judge would have to decide as to whether or not something's happened. If the police are not willing to file a complaint, you have the absolute right to go in to the court clerk and file a complaint and then present this type of testimony to a judge.
Yes, sir, I'm well aware of that.
Let me read the rest of them, all right? The time of the day the noise occurred, as well as its intensity and duration. Isn't that what you just asked?
I mean, if you got 8 hours, that's a pretty long duration.
Right. Right. Now, you would need testimony that would have to prove that.
Mr. Young, all I'm telling you is, the state police aren't gonna be able to enforce that. They're gonna, somebody's gonna say, the judge might say, well, I don't think, 8 hours, yeah, that seems like a lot. Maybe 5 hours is okay a day, because it's so subjective. It's just whether the judge thinks 8 hours is too much, and how loud is loud. The judge might say, that doesn't sound loud to me.
But it's up to the township whether or not you want a defined standard. We did review this for the 3 committeemen that were not here, and I don't know whether Curtis and I know Rich was obviously here when this was adopted. This was selected because of the diversity throughout the township. Because I can't just write a noise ordinance for your street. I have to write it for the whole township.
Dan, excuse me, Mr. Young, you look at some of the other noise ordinances around here, they specifically mean
I understand that.
residential
I understand that. I
areas
researched that.
where
I knew
it's
that.
not permitted. So a noise ordinance can be written that way, specifically to say, residentially zoned, you can't do this, you can't do that.
And we have historic uses that are in residential zones that historically have generated noise.
Sure, I mean, does that happen in 8 hours a day, 5 days a week?
Yeah, I think
Of
part
course
of the
not.
problem between the state troopers, Mr. Cantor got a hold of me and I went out, I've been out twice just to see what was going on, and I've been by another 3 times. I didn't even tell John that I was coming by, I just did. And I understand his frustrations. When I turned the corner heading down to his house, I stopped my truck and got out. Now this is 5 lots away, and I can stand there and hear every word coming down that guy's speakers. And I've seen it 5 times in a row. And if the troopers are coming out one time, they can say, well, this is just a singular incident. And, yeah, so, basically, I understand his frustrations. I wouldn't be there. It'd probably be a war if I lived next to the guy, truthfully. I mean, doors were open, facing.
I understand, but that would be what you just
It's a civil-
related to. That is a
it's a civil
violation. That if that's all accurate and there's no controverted testimony, the judge will find a violation. These ordinances do exist in other towns. It's not like we made this up just for us. It's called a nuisance noise ordinance as opposed to a defined standard. Everything you said is accurate in terms of the options that are available. But at the time it was adopted because the other options did not seem to fit the diversity of uses in the township and the proximity of those uses to residential zones.
Is Upper Township the only township that has a beach, has farmland, has, houses that are 50 feet from each other, Dan? No, that's not true.
I didn't say that.
Well, that's what you're saying, because it's diversified, we can't have a noise-specific ordinance. That's what you're
It's not
saying.
my decision. It's the township committee's decision. I'm just explaining.
I understand, you have your obligation to the committee, but I'm telling the committee that this noise ordinance cannot be enforced. It can't.
John, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
And as we talked earlier on the phone, why haven't you filed a complaint on your own?
We just found out the other day.
I just found out the
okay.
other day that we
are
could. No one even
mulling
ever
over
told
that
us.
option.
Yes.
But that should not stop the committee from saying a noise ordinance would also help the citizens of this town.
What says that we don't even have to touch the ordinance until it gets before the judge? That's the thing. He's the one that's going to tell you whether it's enforceable or not, correct?
Yes.
There you go.
And
So we haven't even gotten to that point yet.
Well, sir, what I'm going to say to you is this. You go before the judge, I file a complaint, I said it's too noisy, the guy's making too much noise, he's playing his music all day long, and judge says, tell me all about it. 8 hours, 5 days a week. Okay. And it's this loud, I show him this video, and I go, yeah, it's pretty loud. How do you control it? How do you stop it? How do you slow it down? What volume is too loud? How many hours is too loud? How many minutes? How many days a week? That's my point.
But the same thing holds true even if we do an objective thing.
Yes.
It's this, I mean, our ordinance may be subjective at this point, but even if we made it objective, the same things that you're saying right now could continue. You file a complaint and it goes through to a judge, and the decision whether or not it's good or bad, it doesn't necessarily mean the person might not continue doing the same thing. So
That's why you have fines, Mr. Mayor, where you say 25 the first violation, 50, 100, up to 2,000. It's a deterrent.
Are there
And also, you
fines
have
to this day?
a neighbor that's going to corroborate your
What
story,
are the
too.
fines right now?
Well, we have to go to the other section.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
They're playing a stereo or is it a garage band?
No, it's it's a stereo.
Are they home when this is playing?
Yes.
And
most
sometimes
of
they're
the
not.
time, Sometimes they're
And
not.
sometimes they go
You
out
have
and
to
just leave it on.
understand, the garage where they're playing this music, the doors open up on the side of the house and point right into the side of my house. The doors are wide open. They leave the doors open. Who needs to leave their doors open to play music? It's insane.
And it starts at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m.
It's directed to aggravate you, correct?
Yes, I'm sure it is.
All those factors, if that was testified to in a court, a judge has the authority under this ordinance. They've been enforced before, these type of ordinances. I agree with you, it's subjective.
Yes,
There's an
sir.
old saying in law, it's kind of silly, it's kind of flippant, I don't mean to give it to disrespect, but sometimes justice is what the judge ate for breakfast. And that happens sometimes when he has to make a suggestive, or she has to make a subjective call. You asked the penalties, it's 1,000 to 100 to 1,000.
Now,
The judge has discretion.
if we change the ordinance, it would take 90 to 120 days. That's the problem. That's one of the problems. That's not an immediate fix.
I don't expect an immediate
Yeah.
fix. I understand that. Right now, you just heard what I said. This has been going on for 3 months. So
I don't know how you put up with it, to be honest with you.
All right.
What else can we do? The
All right.
state police said, don't call us again. They
All right.
looked right at us and
All right,
said,
so let's try and help here with you guys. So the first thing we're going to ask is that you file a complaint with the municipal court. What we'll do is,
They may want to also check with the state police, maybe the administrator can give you the exact name of the person you should talk to.
Okay.
That might help a lot, because when I read your complaints, I said, this isn't right. There's
Yes,
something
sir.
happening, there's a disconnect here. And again, this ordinance was actually asked to be introduced and created by the state police. The state police had problem houses that they knew they could gain access to them through noise ordinances, so this was actually reviewed and approved 10 years ago by the barracks commander at the state police.
Well,
But
Mr.
they
Young, like
rolled
you
over.
just said, there's a lot of turnover there. So who was good with that
But
noise
that's-
ordinance 10 years ago? Those young
Right.
guys there that turn over every 6 months, they don't care worth a hill of beans what's going on.
But that's the ability of our administrators being able to reach out, and maybe if you get them and that avenue, and if for some reason they don't file a complaint based upon the information that you have enough data and evidence with your neighbors to file a complaint on your own.
all right, so they can do that, but maybe we do need to look at something to try and firm it up a little bit on our end. So, we're not going to come up with the answer tonight. I get that.
No,
So-
and it's going to be the
so why-
same questions you had 10 years ago.
But why don't you try, I'm asking you, Dan, to try and play with the wording a little bit, look at some other ordinances and see a way that, we can, somehow make something more stringent, but also, take into consideration, the different things that happen in the township. Now, I'm not making excuses for that, what happens in the township, but, obviously, there's got to be a town like Ocean City that has a boardwalk, and that makes a lot of noise during the, and they have to have a way of addressing that.
In Ocean City, they have, my understanding is they have the audible standard that he was referring to. And in Ocean City, when a complaint comes in, they shut it down. They just shut it down, and if they don't shut it down, they'll cite them. Which is what you can't selectively enforce. So if you have someone that historically has had a gun range in their backyard that's near a residence, if we have an audible standard, you're going to shut it down because it's been there 50, 75 years. If you have someone that has a mining operation that butts commercial, that has noise, that has been there historically before the residential.
Well, but in any of those situations, it's not what we're hearing tonight.
The nuisance part is...
Yeah, I mean, if
Right.
somebody has a gun range that's been there for 75 years, they may go out once
I know,
a
but
week.
the audible
It's
standard's
not-
objective.
It's not.
It's
what-
subjective. It's whether you hear it it's within 75 feet or whatever the distance you put in the ordinance, if it can be heard. That's the problem with a objective standard. If you have different uses, you could put them in
Well,
violation.
Why is that?
I would like to make your lives a lot easier, better, and peaceful. So I'm going to ask you to work with Scott and call in the state police, and I also think that it would make sense to file a complaint. In the meantime, we'll take it on our responsibility to look at the ordinance to see how we can get it to be more restrictive and to address the the terrible things that you're experiencing at this point.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Thank you.
I'll suggest, if I
Another
could.
suggestion too, this has to be bothering some of your other neighbors.
Well,
I
she
mean,
said
I have a letter.
We have a letter.
Maybe if we get multiple complaints in front of our municipal court, that certainly would enhance the judge's ability to levy a fine or issue a cease and desist order. In the meantime, if we as a committee continue to work on maybe improving that standard, it's something we can work together on. You know, if we attempt to modify this ordinance, this could take,
Well, you're going to have to be educated, especially the new members. I would suggest at least 2 of the new members who weren't when we did this originally, maybe a subcommittee that I could review the various options and bring it back to the
Right,
full
so,
committee.
but in the meantime, let's figure out how to immediately, or the best we can, address this. Because I certainly wouldn't want these folks to go through a Thanksgiving without playing next to them if they have a family dinner or something during the day.
Yes, sir.
So if I can ask that you work with Scott, with the state police, and I may be uncomfortable to file a complaint, but I would ask that you consider doing that. And between the two of them, you know, hopefully we can get you some at least more immediate relief, and we'll work on the other thing in the meantime.
Will we be able to come back maybe at the next meeting, or how will we know if this is going to be addressed again at some future meeting?
I would ask you to contact Scott.
Okay. Dan, if I could suggest to you, I have copies of several noise
Yeah,
ordinances.
I have all that research.
Bridgeton is the one that is...
This wasn't,
Go ahead.
John, when we did this 10 years ago, I'm sure I still have a file, I had researched every type of noise ordinance.
I'm sure you have.
So I know what's out there, I know what can be done, I just have to educate, re-educate some of the township committee people as what their options are.
Yes,
But you don't want to push down something to solve it and then have 6 other problems pop up.
I mean, the state-
That's the problem they're faced with.
Our ordinance, the state police might not know it's enforceable, and they might be able to take our ordinance with a conversation with Scott and our lawyer and enforce it.
Well, let's work with Scott,
Yeah.
and let's have you consider filing a personal complaint as well.
Yes, sir.
And we'll work forward on our end to do what we need to do.
I appreciate the consideration. Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the Township Committee? And thank you for sharing your concerns. Anyone else? Okay.
Could I go back to that last issue? Would the committee prefer to have a couple members that I could review these with, these issues?
I volunteer.
That's what I was kind of hoping you would.
I'm willing.
Okay. That way I have a law enforcement officer and
Do you want John or do you want my zoning and,
I'm sorry.
would it be better for John or myself to hold the zoning?
It's up to you guys. That's why I'm asking you who you want.
Like I say, I'm more than willing if you feel that zoning
I
is
just
important.
need-
No, I just, I've been involved in enforcing these things too over the years, so that's why
The zoning officer. It's up to you guys.
that's anything I'll say.
Fine.
All right, we'll figure out who'll be on the committee, but we'll get Ed and one of these guys on the side,
Okay.
and we'll move forward. And so I realize there's some research and there's some things you have to look at with the subcommittee. So why don't we say that, I'm trying to be reasonable here with the amount of
I
time for
would
research.
give it a chance if the police are going to enforce it. Give it a chance to work through this while we do some research. So, and you're towards the end of the year.
And it would be difficult to do an
adopt
ordinance.
an ordinance until
Right,
next
we
year
can't
anyway.
carry it over to the following year anyway. So we probably are looking more
You're talking next year.
doing something in the
Hopefully
beginning of the
you'll
year.
get relief in the
And not-
meantime,
but-
but you can also look at it.
But
And not for nothing, this
whatever you
might
do,
trigger the judge having some input on it too,
help these folks make their lives better, please.
and the prosecutor.
Right. All right, so, but we'll keep you in the loop as to, where we are with it. Okay? All right, so I'll ask one more time. Anyone else? Public comment? Okay. So, so there's no further comment. I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting and entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are litigation on enforceable housing, contract negotiation for fixed asset inventory, and personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. Please be careful driving home. The roads might be a little slippery. Keep warm. Again, next meeting will be lighting the Christmas trees, so.
That's all.